All right, folks. That was a good start. I guess should we talk about any news stories? We should talk about the Trump Epstein thing quick before we jump into the influencers tier list. Just want to hit on some of the biggest news stories of today because there was a lot of stuff going on. Um, Lex Friedman got shredded by Scott Horton on his own show. So here's Trump, who's asked by a reporter about Epstein and the Epstein files. And this is how he responds. Quite stunning. It's like might as well be Joe Biden out there at this point.
Alex Costa.
Sure.
Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever
I'm
worked
sure most of
for
you have seen this already.
American or foreign
Thank you, Rada
intelligence
Ruck.
agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape?
Yeah, sure. If I
Did I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're.
At a time like this, I can't believe you're asking about Epstein at a time like this, when we promised that we were going to release the Epstein files and then didn't. And when the FBI and the Trump administration came out and said that he did kill himself, and they released a video with a minute missing in it that shows nothing. That wasn't even a video of Epstein's cell. I can't believe people are talking about this. My blatant lie. I mean, this is how narcissists work, right? This is pure gaslighting. They're completely lying to you. They're bold-faced lying right to your face, and then acting like you're the idiot for calling them out on their lie, especially when it's this big of a lie. As Haas said on X, a release of the Epstein files could mean an American revolution. It would show everybody that so many people in these positions of power are this morally depraved to the point where they would do something like that on Epstein's island. It would take away any and all illusions that exist about the ruling class in America, and the Democrats and the Republicans alike. It would wipe that away and show everybody what they are: a bunch of psychotic, wealth hoarding pedos. I don't know if I should say that on YouTube. I might get banned, but it's sad because the thing about a narcissist is a lot of people will fall. If you're a good narcissist like Trump is, a lot of people will fall for your nonsense and your gaslighting. A lot of honest, well-intentioned people will fall for it because they assume you're honest and well-intentioned the same way they are. They don't, they aren't always on the lookout for people lying to them and deceiving them. Regular working class people aren't, because the average person they interact with isn't like that. But that's how Donald Trump operates. Why would you even ask me about that? Why would you ask me about that after Elon said I was literally in the Epstein files?
Having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
A desecration after what happened in Texas to ask about Epstein. So not only is he gaslighting in a very narcissistic way, but he's standing on the graves of these dead children, these dead girls who are at like a Christian summer camp in Texas and died from flooding. He's standing on their graves and saying, how can you ask me about Epstein when, what happened in Texas happened, when there were floods in Texas? Why would you ask me about the children that I potentially assaulted when there are other children suffering? That's scammer logic. So that happened. It still remains to be seen how many of Trump's people are going to flip on him over this. Elon Musk came out and said that Steve Bannon is also in the Epstein files, another reason they don't want to release it. And I mean, imagine how many people are in those files who are close to Trump. He surrounded himself with the Adelsons and all these Israeli elites. He surrounded himself with American elites. The same people that he called the swamp when he was campaigning are now the people influencing him to not do so many things that he promised, like releasing the Epstein files. And he's left to answer to the media and try to explain why he can't out all of his friends as the pedos that they are. And Kash Patel was recently on Joe Rogan, the FBI director. Joe Rogan did a pathetic job of pushing back. But all of the comments were just roasting, destroying Kash Patel, saying, "You're a liar. We don't trust you. We can tell that you're lying. You sold out," all this stuff. So it's interesting to see a lot of people turning on Trump, a lot of Trump hardliners, and then, a lot of regular people who support Trump who don't, have their nose to something like this. Keep that in mind, like the Epstein thing, it would be like a huge revolutionary moment if it was revealed. But there are also a lot of people who don't follow politics day to day, who are only going to notice something if their day-to-day life changes economically or whatever.